that a good number is from 6 to 7 of healing properties, but they said when they tested the oil, it was infinity. So I got curious and I wanted to find out how they came to that conclusion. And I never could find it on Google. Imagine that. So last week, there's a man in here from Oregon, and he works in essential oils. And he told me, he said, the way that you test the oil or the way you test essential oils is in frequency. And he said sickness starts at 57. And anything above that, at 58 and up, is what they call a healing property. And he said 60, and I asked him, I said, okay, so what's an average number? And he said anything from 60 to 70 is good. And he said 70 to 80, 80 to 90 is your expensive oils, kind of like frankincense and that kind of stuff. And I said, well, they said they had it tested, and it tests infinity. And he said, maybe the reason it tested infinity is because it has no frequency. And he said, blood has no frequency.
Amen.
Hallelujah! Glory! Yes!
So he said, and he's just talking to me. There's a man who owns a company in Oregon that has a machine that tests the oil. And he said, I can have it tested. I said, I don't want to test it. I said, I know where it came from. I just want to legitimize what people are telling me. Because I don't want to put a false report out there. And I want to keep everything in the light. So he said, maybe it's not infinity. Maybe it just has no frequency. And then I feel like the Lord started putting everything in perspective. Because the Word says that you that are sick, call for the elders of the church. They'll bring the oil, anoint them, and it says not the oil, but it says the prayer of faith will heal the sick. And so obedience would be what the Word says is to bring the oil and lay hands on them, and that obedient act is a prayer of faith that activates the oil, if the Lord wants us to use the oil, that heals. So we know in a service gathering like this, we do what the Word says, and we lay hands on people, and that obedient act, when God is ready, can activate an oil with no frequency to heal. But it's the act of obedience that would activate the oil and not the oil. So when you would walk up to somebody and say, you know about this Bible flowing with oil, here's the vial from it, just take it and use it. Miraculous things will happen. Probably not. Because without an act of obedience, according to the Word, that's just a bottle of oil, no frequency. But what really can activate the oil to the frequency level to heal what God wants to heal is our act of faith, our obedience, and our prayer of faith that would activate the oil that would cause the Lord to heal. So that oil with no frequency, without obedience to the Word and the act of faith, is just a bottle of oil. We just want to keep it in the light. Just want to keep it in the light. In Luke, the first chapter, 37th verse, when the angel went to Mary and said, you're going to have a child. And she said, I'd have it known a man. And he said, nothing's impossible. And the word nothing means no rhema. A rhema word is a word that God speaks to you out of the Word. So when he says, no rhema word spoken to you by God comes without the power and the ability to perform itself. So we know there's another way too that we can do. That God can speak a rhema word to you and say, drink it. Now, Jerry drinks it because the Lord tells him to. He doesn't tell me to drink it. So Jerry can drink it and he'll work healing properties for him. I can drink it and just leave a bad taste in my mouth. Because it's just a bottle of oil with no frequency. So I want us to understand that it is about the oil, but it's not about the oil. And as revelation comes, because the Lord, when you have a vial of oil and the Lord says, go up to that woman and give her this vial of oil and tell her what it is, It activates your act of obedience, of faith, activates that oil to heal and to do whatever God wants to do. But just because you see somebody in the store and you want to go up and one up them and say, I got this bottle of oil that's flowing from the Bible, here, take it and use it and see what happens. Nothing's going to happen. Because it's a bottle of oil with no frequency. So what I'm telling you is, the word says, when those that are sick, lay hands on the sick, and the prayer of faith, and if the Lord says to anoint them with this oil, the prayer of faith activates that oil to the degree the Lord wants to use it to heal.
Without faith, you can't please God.
So I'm not telling you this to I mean, you're looking at me like, no. I thank God for the Bible. I thank God for the oil, and it's what He's using to heal people all over the world. But it's our act of faith in response to the word that activates this bottle with no frequency that'll heal, but it's our obedience to Him. So you know, you ask me, okay, what do you do with it? Mary told the disciples, whatever He tells you to do it. So if He tells you to rub it on the back of your head, if He tells you to rub it on your toe, if He tells you to drink it, if He tells you to throw it against the wall. But I'm telling you, the Lord's doing a wonderful and miraculous thing with oil that's flowing out of a Bible that Hollywood can't match and nobody can touch. It's a sign and a wonder that God has given us and more to come. But it doesn't remove our act of obedience and our act of faith that will activate what God has sent us to bring miracles that point right back to Him and know that it's Him that gets the glory, Him that gets the honor, Him that gets the praise. And we're just using a part of the oil that He's given us in accordance with our obedience to His word that comes through us and heals and points right back to Him. And if we deviate away from that, we need to stop. So the bottle of oil you have this morning may not have any frequency. But if the Lord says, don't give them this bottle of oil, you might have just activated it for God to do what He wants to do according to our act of obedience and our faith. Is that good? Yeah. Is that good? Come on, celebrate. Celebrate.